Rapanchuk. I think
I just started it.
we're streaming. Okay, so Candy,
All right.
just do a quick roll call because I can't see everybody either. Maybe
Okay,
their names. Is that okay?
let's start with a roll call.
Okay.
So
Scott,
Candy,
do you want to call the names or just us call out?
how about we
well-
call out?
Okay, well, Scott McCauley is present.
Andrew Brown is present.
Candy Sullinger present.
Julie Wolf, present.
Micah
David
Farley
Parrish,
here.
present.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
So I assume that counts as two people, not one, since they went at the same time.
We had David. I think we had David, and then we had Micah.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Did you get me, Cindy Clark? Yeah, okay.
And I think we've got Jamie. Jamie,
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm here.
I see Jamie.
Okay.
I think we're good, Candy.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and approve the October 20th minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
You have a motion?
We have
Scott
a
motions
second.
and Andrew seconds.
Have a second. Again, I can't see everybody, but is there anybody that doesn't approve the minutes? All right, motion carried to approve the October minutes.
Aye.
Okay, it looks like are you pulling up the financial report, Cindy or Marcia?
Yes, ma'am. Marcia's pulling it up right now.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, well, Cindy, why don't you go ahead and start with that?
Okay, great. Thank you, Candy. I'm glad that you're back. And
Thank you.
so today, you guys, I sent out the meeting notice, and then we lost it, Marcia.
October one, give me just a second.
Yeah, so I sent out the October one today because we had gotten an updated one. So I'd like to review that. So Marcia, you're pulling up your emails. You see that? So we're new to doing this. There we go. Well,
That's better.
why don't I talk about it while she's kind of pulling it up? So I don't know if you all had time to see the October, but again, I got it just yesterday from Stacy, so I wanted to share that. I wanted to hit a couple of highlights. Last month, we really kind of focused on the pool and some other areas, but we're really preparing for our third quarter financials. In fact, our new assistant director, Brian Halterman, is on here, and I think he's going to add a few things. But one of the areas I think is really positive is our concession revenue. And so our concession revenue, we're running at about 60% of our revenue from last year. So we're pleased about that because we've missed about 1/3 or 1/2 of our, I'm sorry, our tournament season. Our tournament is what I meant to focus on. $36,528 is about 60%. Also our dog park, I was really pleased. There you go. You got it, Marcia. Our dog park, really pleased with that. We have really seen a real strong interest in our dog park. So I felt like that has been really a positive thing to focus on. Also, we continue to make strides in our campground. We are operating about an 85% of last year. And we're making up ground each month. In September, we made up about $9,790, almost $10,000 in September. And so we're also down in our expenses, and a lot of that was due to saving on part-time staff. Marcia and Angie have continued to work down at the campground some, so we're saving money on part-time. And then in our parks account code or cost center, we're down expenditure $74,525. Those are some of the highlights, Candy. And just real quick, if you guys look at the ball programs, I really want to just end on this area. The ball programs, we were at $88,713 compared to last year at this same time, $108,190. So that is 82% of the revenue. And that, being shut down 6-8 weeks, really pleased about that. And so I want to segue real quick, Candy, to Brian, and he's really been focusing a lot on the financials, kind of like Jason did. So I'd like him to throw in his 2 cents if that's okay with you, Candy.
Hello, gang. How's it going? As Cindy said, I've been really looking into our financials over our third quarter. And obviously, I'm the new person here. And so my perspective is a little bit different than what all of you have been going through. And I can tell you without a doubt, that the staff put together a great plan and they're executing that plan almost flawlessly. Overall, we're at 90% of what our COVID budget revenue-wise was projected. And if we have a normal November and December, we're going to surpass that number. And when you counter that with the expenses at 90%, that's pretty miraculous, because expenses during COVID are going to happen no matter what. Revenues are not. And for us to be basically leveled out right now, that is an amazing, amazing feat done by the staff. And it was a great plan executed by obviously hardworking people.
Well, I did not pay him to say that, Candy, but it is really nice to get kind of an outside perspective on how we're doing. And it's, we're excited to have the revenue that we're bringing in. And I think I'll just leave it to questions after that, Candy.
Well, kudos to Cindy and everybody for being able to maintain all of that and make such progress when everything else has been so much lower. So way to go, Cindy, to you and your team, and Brian for jumping in there and figuring out where we can improve and keep going with that. So all those concessions, 60%, campground 85%, ball games 82%. That's amazing for the type of conditions that we have and the type of conditions that are continuing to decrease, because obviously COVID is on a big comeback at the moment.
Well, and look at that number, Clark. I was just, even though I don't know the percentages, but just even by doing the eyeball test, you can tell that the ratios are fairly close to where they need to be. And there's been a lot of adjustments made. And I think I said this a couple of months ago, the fact we're even in the ballpark, I think is amazing. I think that shows a testament to the staff and the management and how we've kept things going and kept the programs going that people need. So that's just terrific.
I agree.
Yeah, you guys, just to piggyback on that, I think one of the big credit definitely goes to a lot of our recreation staff. Again, down at the ball programs, what's happening a lot of times is, I've mentioned before about our front desk staff working down at the campground. Well, our recreation staff is filling in and they're refereeing and they're scorekeeping and things that we would have to pay to do. And so that's one of the ways that we're catching up and kind of saving ground there. So we don't want to have to spend any dollars that we don't have to. So it's definitely been a team effort, and I'm thankful to be working in a department where people step up like this. So appreciate your kind words, Clark.
Sure. Well deserved.
Excuse me, Cindy, I just wanted to add, since March, you in your department have continued to reinvent yourselves. And I don't think we're just exaggerating. I think those in the community are impressed as well as what you've been able to offer from the time school shut down and continue to offer. And Scott chose a good choice of words when he said you staying in the ballpark. So again, I want you to know how appreciated it is, and people do mention that. So as Clark said, good job.
Thank you.
Okay, with no further questions on the financial report, Cindy, are you or Brian going to do the park update?
Yeah, I'll do that. And he may chime in. And I don't know, Marcia's scrolling down. Marcia, do you mind scrolling back up to the agenda if you don't mind? So right now, what's happening is we are focusing on a lot of cleanups. I don't know if a lot of you use our parks, but one of the things that we've been doing is leaves, and we've been cleaning up. This is the time of year that we get in and do, they've been down at the campground, they've been down at North Beach Park. They've been focusing on City Hall and other areas going on. And then another thing I'd really like to hopefully prompt Clark to talk about is a lot of great things happening at North Beach Park. So with our landscape specialist, Amy Jackson, and the tree keepers, which Clark has been a large part of, they have planted several trees at North Beach Park as part of our reforestation. Most of you that have lived in this area for a long time know about our huge cottonwood trees, and we're seeing a few of those being cut down. And so reforestation efforts are really, really important. They planted, Clark and the tree keepers planted 11 trees the other day. And I know Dr. Davis was out there too, and his wife, and also kind of working on the vines. And Clark, that has been a very laborious effort. Do you want to kind of talk about both those efforts, if you don't mind?
Sure. Well, with Amy's direction and getting actually free trees from a group out of St. Louis, it's called Relief. They ship huge numbers of trees to municipalities throughout the area. And so she was able to go to Joplin actually and pick up some nice sized trees that were healthy and with a good variety of them that would do well at North Beach under potentially flooding and most likely flooding issues at some time, and in shaded conditions also. So we were able to get those planted, and of course staff came down too, and we couldn't have, tree keepers could not have obviously done it all without staff there. They showed up and could really put some muscle to it, and so we so appreciated that. And Amy had it all organized. We had chosen some spots already, we had mapped out some places already, and so she was ready to go. And then got those planted and then staked and then watered and then water bags around them. Most of you know, when you plant a tree like that, you have to allow for 3 years of pretty intense maintenance. So you've got to monitor them, watch them, mulch them, those types of things for 3 years. Generally in 3 years, you'll get enough growth and you can kind of turn it over to nature in general. And if you've chosen the right species for the right spot, they should be good. And with Amy's direction, of course, she's the pro on that, as she's really chosen some great species. And then the other thing we met down there was dealing with the vines. Many of you've walked, I'm sure, down along the lake there at North Beach, and you've noticed the vines as winter creep, and there's poison ivy and stuff. And they've worked their way up 40, 50 feet in the air on those cottonwoods and sycamores. And basically the root system gets into the bark and can cause problems there. And then it also blocks out the light. And so after a period of time, it's actually dangerous to have those types of, dangerous to the tree to have those types of vines going up there. So with the help of Amy and the tree keepers, and then staff again came down and they were amazing. We would clear off an area at the base, cut the vines. You had to be careful because some of them were poison ivy, and many of us, me included, are very sensitive to that. So you got to really watch it. And then we would would cut them and then apply a herbicide to the area that was left then to kill the roots off, and then cleared out the area around it too. And so it's just going to be much healthier for the trees. Those are some monster trees down there, as you guys know. And so maintaining that type of urban treescape is something that the community has to constantly work at. And as I've mentioned before, if you see a lot of beautiful big trees, but no baby trees, so to speak, then you have an issue. So reforesting, planting some young trees is very important because they're not going to live forever. You've got to have the next generation coming up. And Amy's been really great to identify those types of trees that are good and the areas for that. And we'll continue with that. So I appreciate all of Amy's great work and Cindy's support and the guys coming down and helping out. It's just been a great team effort. Brian was down there helping. And so we really appreciated all of that.
Yeah, Clark, I really just thank you for giving that report. I just feel like, because of now having the position has allowed us to concentrate on reforestation efforts. I know that's something you and Dr. Davis have planted the seedlings all along, but I mean, we're kind of a little bit probably behind the ball in some of this. I mean, I would say, and we really want to focus on North Beach Park, and we really want to focus on the campground. And those are two of our prime areas. But I mean, there's trees all over town that we need to plant. But like I said, in 3 years, to water them. So, but we've gotten started, and I kind of appreciate, I appreciate you, all the work that you're doing, and really the tree keepers is kind of on from the tree board. And I was down there that day filming you guys, and I couldn't believe how many people were in the park. And we hope to utilize that to market tree keepers and more people to join in the future.
Sure, right. That's right.
That's kind of my update, Candy.
Okay. Yeah. Presentation of the 2020 tournament attendance.
Back to when I was starting off the presentation, the financials. So we finished the year, our revenue about $36,000 for tournaments. And normally that revenue is around $60,000. So that was about 60% of the revenue. But again, we were shut down about a third or half of the season. And so this is a report, you all, that we do every year, and this reflects just the tournament attendance. So this isn't particularly the locals. This is more of the visitors that come to our tournaments. So the first baseball tournament was held on, looks like May 30th, and typically that is around the first weekend, April. So once we were able to start kind of coming off the shutdown, we experienced pretty good numbers. So you can see there were 28 teams in that event. So you multiply that by 15, and that's the participants, is the coaches and players. And then if it's a weekend tournament, we use a multiplier of 2 attendees. And then if it's a week-long tournament, 4 attendees. And so, you kind of work your way across to the amount of days, the attendance days. And then once you get to the bottom, so we're estimating, well, we're not estimating, we know we had 905 teams come to events here this summer, and then 10,575 players, and total attendees, 32,000. And so you add those two together. So we're saying of the 27 events that we hosted, we brought 42,000 people to town and 137,000 attendance days, and you multiply that by $73 a day that the chamber used, or the CVB used, as their third quarter spending. And we're estimating our direct visitor spending to be 10 million. So, that's down from obviously 14 million last year, but it's still a good number that we're proud of. And that's, I said this summer, we had our last event 2 weekends ago, and we had a Triple Crown event. I don't know if some of you saw, that was a showcase event. And so we had some college coaches in town watching that. And we had 18 teams from around the Midwest area. So pretty exciting about, how we ended. We're pretty pleased with that. And some of you all have seen this before, but I'd be happy to answer questions. You can see the highlighted ones are the World Series tournaments. And so those are the week-long tournaments that were held, and, pretty good numbers based on the COVID situation, for sure.
Cindy, I got a question. And I know we talked about this a couple of months ago, but I know there was a lot of time and effort taken into making sure these tournaments happen, but also within the guidelines that the city laid forth and the CDC has laid forth. As far as the teams and the fans participating, how was that received? Did you have many issues with that?
Sure. So as you know, that continues to change all the time, and we're at a different place now than we were when you see some of these numbers and things like that. But yeah, I think we definitely took a lot of modifications and precautions, including spraying down bleachers and cleaning and spreading out, and people in the field. But that continues to evolve, as does the CDC guidelines. But it was received really, really well. A lot of these events were outdoor events, so there was plenty of room to spread out. Most of the time, Scott, we did not charge, or the tournaments chose not to charge admission. So people were able to go in all gates. People were spread out in the outfield. So that was received really, really well. People were very excited that they could come to Branson and still be able to have events like this. So we heard a lot of great things. And, like you said, things continue to evolve, and we may see some stricter guidelines over the winter. But people were really pleased to be able to come to Branson, and there was no problems following the guidelines. That's for sure. They were just excited to be here. I might segue to the 2021 tournaments. So, most of you have seen this report before, and you can see, especially if Jamie's still on here, you can see Jamie's very familiar with a lot of these because a lot of the folks come and shop out at Tanger in different places. And so we've got the USSSA State, the Girls World Series, and the FASHA events. So those events are excited to come back next year, and we're seeing an increase in demand for people that want to bring events to Branson. So that could continue to change, but there is a tremendous excitement about events wanting to come to Branson for 2021. So I continue to work on putting that schedule together, but we plan to see all of the World Series back and the Girls World Series and even more events for next year. So hopefully all those will be able to safely happen. And as we get into next year, I'll give you guys that updated list. But so there's a lot of interest in Branson.
The more girls events, the better. They're better shoppers.
Better shopper.
Yeah. And there's your merchant right there.
Candy, are you there?
I think she's muted there still. Then
Okay.
Candy, I think, there you go.
I got it. Cindy, I just wanted to say that 10 million's nothing to sniff at,
Yeah.
Sorry, Marcia. I was just impressed with that 10 million. I'm sorry. Let's move on to the update on programs.
Yeah. As most of you know, we've been talking about the last few months. We continue to kind of change and modify what we're doing. So, for example, a few weeks ago, we did not hold our big Halloween Bonanza event this year. We opted for a much smaller event, kind of a hayride. Julie was actually there and volunteered and helped. So that was received really well over a 2-day period. We had 209 families and kids participate in that. That was, again, a hayride. So parents were all masked, and it was received really, really well. Julie, do you want to comment on that any?
Sure. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate. And but you guys did a fantastic job putting that together. I'm still amazed of what you did. I volunteered to help in whichever way. I asked Cindy, I said, just put me wherever you need me. And so they asked me to do just the one. I just did the one night. And so but it was just really neat to see all the families participating and having fun. I worked at the area where they dropped off all the families after the hayride. And Tracy is, she is so organized and energetic staff member. You should be so very proud of her. But after the hayride, she had these little crafts that everyone worked on. And so we would have different, and they were all in separate families, were at separate tables. So there was social distancing. They wore masks. So it was very, very well prepared. And they had checkers. It was really cute. They had checker tables, and then they had tree stumps for everyone to sit on around the different tables out there. So it was very, what's the word I want to say, organic looking, or just all the families were just loving it because they had something for very family oriented and something for everyone. And they had s'mores. S'mores was a big deal. They had a little fire pit, and kids were able to roast their own marshmallows. It was just a wonderful thing for everyone. And I was glad I could help out. And I'm just glad also we didn't have a costume contest because I'm usually judging that, and I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. So, anyway.
Julie, I appreciate it. Julie, you've always been a big help in our special events. And so, I was just trying to illustrate what we're trying to do is really modify and change. And some of our events we're not going to be able to hold. This Adopt a Senior Christmas flyer that Marcia has pulled up. So that is being done a little bit differently. Tracy's in charge of that. So it's going to be well received and done well with the community. But we're doing much more gift cards. And, obviously those will just be dropped off at people's homes and be contactless, much like we did a lot of the grocery shopping and things of that nature. But we're finding that there's a big need for that this year, especially we also serve some of the nursing homes in town, including Point Lookout and, all the ones around. And then we serve the homebound seniors. So people are very excited about this. There's definitely a lot of isolation setting in. So this is going to be great. And then if you want to scroll down a little bit, Marcia, we might have this is the other one, the flashlight candy cane nut. So we are not doing our normal breakfast with Santa. So we have canceled that event in lieu of something different. And so which we can better socially distant, be outside a lot. And so we hope this will be well received. So this is a new event. We're kind of rolling that out right now. So we'll see how, if people like doing that, that will be held down at the community center where there's a lot of space in that building. We've also got another one, Carly. I don't know if you guys you saw Carly the last month. She runs some of our programs and she does a lot of our Facebook and different things. She is also a cook. And so she is amazing, makes a lot of things. So she's the one that did a lot of our virtual stuff during the shutdown. She's going to do this Cooking with Carly. So if you're interested, tune in. It's Facebook Live, just like we did the trivia during the shutdown. So she'll be doing that. And then what else do we have here? I can't. This is just our newsletter that kind of describes. So last month since our community center, while we've been closed, the in-person meal program has continued to be shut down since it's never reopened. So people get frozen meals. So to serve the seniors, we've started doing these drive-by events where people drive by in the parking lot. They don't get out of their vehicle. People are masked. And so last month we did this, it was called something like Just Treats, No Tricks, something like that. Tracy did it and she had 80 people attend that and giving away ice cream. And this Friday, we're going to have this drive-by pie event and it's going to, Marcia, are you on?
Yes, ma'am.
Marcia has arranged for a lot of this because of her association with the Boy Scouts. Do you want to talk about this, Marcia?
Yeah, it's excuse me. It's an event that Tracy had talked to me about, and Boy Scout Troop, Scout Troop 290, which is the oldest Scout troop in Branson Hollister. They are going to be handing out the miniature pies to all the seniors. Kind of as a volunteer time and also just a good interaction with the community. And then Built Right Homes have reached out to patients and they are donating 5 Thanksgiving meals. So all those cards get to put in their name into the drawing and 5 seniors will win a meal from courtesy of Built Right Homes. And I have 150 pies I'm picking up on Thursday. So hopefully that's enough. I have a boy coming home from S&T and he's going to be my runner. So,
yeah,
Marsha, where are you getting your pies from?
It's those little individual pies from Walmart.
Oh, well,
I'm talking about the little small ones. We did that. When I say we, the Boy Scout Troop 290, both my boys are in that troop, and we did those pies for them last year for Valentine's Day. We sent those out with all the meals for Valentine's Day and the seniors really enjoyed it. So I have 75 pumpkin, 25 apple, 25 cherry, and 20. But so
Okay.
hopefully we'll come out and we'll have to buy more.
Yeah, so I mean, again, this illustrates what we're trying to do is modify what we're doing. The seniors have been something that there has been a big isolation issue. So we've started these drive-by events. And so we're excited to continue that. We have another one planned for December. And then lastly, she's pulling up the winter break camp. And so that's something that we typically do. Hopefully that we'll be able to do that. And that's during while people are out of school. So hopefully that will be able to go forward and we'll be successful with that. And I think there's another flyer about different pickleball things going on. So Candy, this is just kind of meant there's a lot of things going on, and we rained out our last soccer game last Saturday. So we have games going on right now. So we're anxious to get that program finished. But I think that kind of gives you an update on everything we got going on.
It looks super.
Cindy,
Yes.
an event question for you. And I may be thinking long-term here. We're not meeting next month, correct?
Yeah, usually we cancel in December. This is typically our last meeting of the year. So our next meeting will be in January.
Okay, well, I was wondering because of with COVID, what's going on, should we try and start some planning for the February events that we usually do now? And figure out how we're gonna do that. We may end up wanting to add more sessions, or am I getting ahead of the program here?
Yeah, do you mean with what sessions do you mean, Andrew? What sport are you talking about?
The father-daughter dance and the mom-son event around Valentine's, around at Fun Mountain. I guess that's where we've been holding them.
Yeah, we'll definitely, as that gets a little bit closer, we've already been talking about that and planning for that. I mean, it's unlikely that we would be able to hold the father-daughter dance for sure. And so that is just like all of our big events, we're doing anything to kind of mitigate crowds. And so that would be probably something very likely we would not be holding this year, but hopefully we'll, like what I've illustrated, come up with other things to modify it, or maybe something we're not able to do this year. But definitely, Andrew, we're already talking about kind of next year and what that looks like. But I think the biggest key of all of it is to just be flexible and continue to just see where things are and, kind of adjust.
Did something happen?
Oh, Cindy's muted.
Any questions about any of the events? Micah, I know, are your kids still playing soccer, or are they been participating in any of the activities?
So I had the two girls playing soccer this year. The boys play football. We had, of course, our last game was rained out. We had our makeup game last night. So we did, let's see, Saturday, our game was canceled, but we started basketball. So that was our first basketball game, and our last soccer game was last night. So it's kind of spaced out a little bit better than I anticipated. So yeah, soccer went well. I think everything went pretty smooth, and our first experience with basketball seemed really well. I felt really comfortable being in the stands. I felt like the crowds were thinned out well enough for us. We didn't feel as overcrowded as we do typically, when everybody's playing at the same time. So I think splitting the two seasons was a really good idea this year, and I think it's going to, hopefully things will maintain and we'll be able to keep doing that. But so far it's been a good experience for us. So yeah, we're in favor.
Thanks for that input, Micah. We're continuing to look at that. Just to remind everybody what we did to kind of mitigate or modify basketball is we split we've moved the girls and the Pee Wee program to kind of the fall, winter, and the boys to mitigate our crowds. And we've spread out the games so they're not stacked on top of each other as much as we normally do. But I mean, one of the things we're considering, Micah, as things go along, if they continue to if there's continued to be an uptick in cases, is to only allow so many, people per team to come to games. We haven't gone to that yet, but it is something that some people are doing. So we're considering that and may have to do that with the boys. So appreciate your input and how things have been. And we are having people talk to, people as they're coming in about masks and wearing masks in the gym. So that's a really important part of being successful. Candy, do we have you here?
Yeah, I think she's muted there.
Okay.
Candy, are you
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
unmute?
Yes, I'm sorry. Any more comments on the programs and events? If not, let's just move right into members' reports. And we haven't heard from David tonight. David, do you have any comments? David Parrish?
Not tonight.
Okay, David, thank you. Good to see you. Let's see. Andrew, have you made your comment already?
I did, but
Okay.
if we obviously can't do the father-daughter dance this spring, and I don't expect we'll be able to, that we try and come up with something that would help people out, because I know kids and parents enjoy that.
Right. I think as Cindy said, because of COVID, group projects like that are probably not going to work, but we can see that they have, as I said, reinvented everything to accommodate people. So with that being said, Julie, do you have a member's report?
I would like to sign up for Carly's cooking class. Is it just for kids?
I don't think it is, and I don't think that would matter. All you have to do, are you on Facebook, Julie?
Yes, I am.
So it's just Facebook Live. I think that you can just tune in at the time, and it talks about what you need. You need to have ingredients.
No, I'll do that. I'll check that out because that looks like fun.
Yeah, Carly, she is really, she makes unbelievable desserts, and
that looks wonderful.
She's actually had some of her food photographed, and
Oh,
so
wow.
got a lot of talents.
Well, I'm in.
Thank you, Julie. You and all the other elementary kids can watch that.
Yes, we will.
Clark Harris, do you have anything for members' reports?
It's just a review of what we did with tree keepers and stuff. And as always, appreciate Amy Jackson's good work and Cindy's support for that program.
Thank you, Clark. Micah?
Nope, I don't have anything else. Just,
okay.
Yep, that's it.
Thanks, Micah. It's good to see you. I don't want to leave anybody out. Jamie?
All is good.
Okay, good to see you as well. Scott McCauley?
Just real quick, I don't want to put Cindy or even Jamie on the spot, but and we've kind of alluded to it. Cindy mentioned it a moment ago, and Andrew mentioned it as well. But the numbers that we're seeing are alarming, quite frankly, right now. And I know, and I hope we don't have to go backwards. But if we should, for some reason, and have to start closing facilities and do those type of things today, if there's a way that we could find a way to keep maybe some of our trails and stuff open for people to be able to get out and get some air. Because, I mean, we've got a great trail system, and I don't want to put anybody in danger or anything like that. But I know when we went through this back in the summer, that was kind of a frustration. It was what it was, and it was following what the guidelines were. But man, it would be nice, Cindy, if there was a way, and Jamie, maybe as a member of the council, you might keep that into consideration if we have to go back that far. I hope we don't, but just as a regular walker and that, I would like to at least look at that if at all possible.
Well, something we did learn through all this was the outdoor activities are very important just it gives people that release to be able to get out and do something. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we'll do our best to do that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And that's all I've got, Candy.
All right, Scott, thank you. Did I overlook anyone on members' reports?
You,
You know, I am a big fan of our Parks and Recreation Department. I don't know that you'll find a bigger fan than I am, having sat on the board for around 30 years, Cindy. So I'm always congratulatory, and I feel like my job is to be in support. That's what, as an advisory board, I like to think that we do. So I just want to welcome Brian Halterman, because I didn't have a chance to do that. And as usual, Cindy, you continue to do an amazing job. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
bye.
Good night, everybody. Thanks
Good
for
night.
being
Good
here.
night. Happy
Thank you for-
Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Bye,
And may
Scott.
2021 be a lot better than 2020. Thank you.
Amen to
Amen.
that.
Yeah.
Here, here.
Amen.
Thank
Amen
you,
to that.
Candy.
Bye,
See
Good
y'all
Scott.
night,
later.
Cindy. Night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Good night.
Night.